Welcome, everybody, to the new No Solid Ground Symposium. Can everybody hear us? Are we all good?
I can hear you.
Fabulous. So, we are really thrilled to be here today. We are here with Beth Sass, of course. We have Michelle Browerman, who is the co writer and a wonderful songwriter who we will get to know shortly. We also have Masha Lunar, who is the inspiration for the yoga aspect of the. So, excuse me, because I have to keep letting people in the yoga aspect of the video, which we're going to experience soon. We have Ira Ingber, who is our wonderful producer, master, everything to do with the music. And then last but not least, we have Casey Newell, the videographer. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It's going to be a great symposium. We're going to learn a lot, and does everybody want to say a little something before we get into it and get into the video, or do we just want to get into the video?
Let's go for it.
Go video.
Okay,
Go
so
video.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
let's
look
do
at
the
the
video.
video. Some of us have seen the video many times. Some of us have never seen the video. Some of us have heard the music, but not the video. So different iterations. So without further ado, let's take a look at the premiere of No Solid Ground.
Storms come sometimes with no warning. You keep your tank half full, your go bag by the door. You scan the sky for what the wind is forming. You read the signs but don't know what they're saying anymore. And everything you thought you knew has changed somehow. And gravity is upside down. Where once you were at home, you are a stranger now. Hard to stand where there's no solid ground. Solid, 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 no solid ground. Solid, solid. The strong arms that sheltered you and held you are growing tired and frail. It's your turn now to care, but then you hear your own child crying. She's struggling so hard, she needs her mother there. And you run from fire to fire till your legs are sore. There's not enough of you to go around, and everyone you care about is wanting more. You're torn in two, and there's no solid ground. Solid, solid, solid. No room for you, no solid ground. When everything you thought you knew has changed somehow, and life has thrown you upside down. You fall and sometimes fall apart till you learn to land where there's no solid ground. Solid, 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 no solid ground. You find the grace to stand where there's no solid
Bravo. So I know that Ira, you haven't actually seen the video yet. So
First,
what are your
first,
thoughts? But don't make them too long because first we have to talk with Masha. She's on a tight time frame as well as Casey. But briefly, since you were pretty close to the music, what are your thoughts?
I think it really integrates the music beautifully. It's wonderful work, Casey, and all around the the idea that it's an internal conversation with the protagonist of the song, if you will, is underscored by this. But it seems more expansive. She's talking to everybody. She's not just talking to herself. So I think it accomplishes that. No, it's wonderful. Was the jerkiness part of the playback engine of Zoom?
Yes,
Yeah.
the
The
stop
car, the
action
car,
feature. It's a special feature
the
in
car, the car, the
Zoom.
car operates a lot more smoothly than the playback engine of Zoom. No, it's wonderful. It also feels like it's not focusing on Beth as much as it features her.
Right.
And I like the idea that it's not only about her, it's about, anybody who chooses to see themselves in it, which is, I think, what the universality of it is.
And Masha, what are your thoughts about integrating? I know Masha's a wonderful, very fabulous yoga, extraordinaire instructor. So giving you a little plug. What are your thoughts about Beth using and integrating the yoga as a metaphor?
Well, so I Beth sent me the video a few weeks ago and I watched it and I was um so touched, first of all, that the teaching has come through and found sort of a creative expression, because yoga isn't necessarily associated with that, but somehow Beth was able to integrate it so well. Um, Yoga is, well, we're seeing it expressed in the video as like postural work, right? So Beth is doing different postures, and actually, she chose to do, or she chose to showcase for the video balance postures. And balance postures, when we kind of teach them, it's implied that there's going to be an inner struggle, because balance is elusive, and a greater metaphor is, of course, a balance in life. How do you, right? How do you balance your responsibilities, perhaps changes that are occurring, but as far as its connection to the posture itself, is that it can provoke um, like profound insecurity, and sadness. If you're unable to balance, you can also experience a lot of frustration. And it's really an internal dialogue. It becomes, I can't balance, how do I balance? Right. So I thought it was fabulous that those are the postures that Beth chose to um, put into the video. And oh, yeah, to my earlier point, is that in a greater sense, yoga is about stilling, like the definition of yoga as when we study it from the original text on Yoga Sutras, is it's a stilling of the churn, revolution, churn of the mind. And of course, it's so difficult because life is always creating a churn for us. We're always churning. So the practice is like, right, like, what is the practice then? And so when you're able to still the mind, then yes, you're living life, but at the same time, it might not impact you in the same way as if you're just caught up in it. So I thought, oh, that video really got to it, Beth. It's great.
the other thing I want to just say that I've been doing, fitness and yoga my whole life, or, every kind of fitness, maybe as much as music. But what brought me to Marsha's class is the issue of bone health. And bone health comes from a study of isometric resistance against, I think the way that Masha explains it is that we want to use our muscles, not our joints, to hold us up. And in order to apply what she taught, you have to know what to use. And in order to know what to use, you have to still the churning and say, what do I need in order to ground in this position, in that position, off balance. And I found that what happened, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but when Michelle and I were writing the song, we kept talking about how life throws you and then you recenter, and life throws you and you recenter. And I do the balancing that you showed us in relation to isometric holding correctly in a position. I use it every day, so it came to mind. And there's the idea of that Masha talks about a lot in yoga, where the combination of muscles that it takes to balance, physically, but also how do you even concentrate on that with the centering and the breath first and all that. Anyway, she's amazing. She teaches at down under yoga in Boston area, New England. She also teaches privately online, and I can't say enough, especially already knowing a lot, but not having had this particular approach and needing it and being able to apply it. So I just want to thank you for caring a lot about bodies.
Thank you. But don't forget, it's completely integrated with the mind. It's the same thing. Right? So it's a full integration. But to your point, about like how to contract the muscles, because that's you would think of
Hi,
it as such a
baby.
physical thing. But it is a profound
Hello.
practice of attunement, right? You are tuning into the deeper self, and the muscles are just the vehicle. What you're doing, the physicality, it's just the vehicle to carry through the practice of stilling and integrating, and then finding, well, in this case, balance.
Yay. Well, thank you. Thank you for making it easy to draw on it in multiple situations. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here, and may see you in a few days. I'm going to be in Boston. We'll see.
And I know Casey can't be with us for that long also. So Casey, we want to talk to you a little bit about the tempo because you when you shot the video, you shot a lot of it
What's been going
raw,
on?
and then you also edited in some existing footage.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
was slow, a little fast, a little slower. Tell us a little bit about that and what your thoughts were when you were producing the video.
So I think Beth, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had the idea to integrate some yoga poses before I even like you presented that to me initially, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then the day of the thing we decided to do was to put that into the garage, the empty garage that had just been unpacked, and rather than in the room you usually do yoga in. The song, which I did not have any part in the creation of, has some very dynamic changes between the verse and chorus in terms of the I don't think the tempo actually changes. I don't know if you were using a drummer or a drum machine, but there's sort of perceived energy change of those still moments and then the more swirling, chaotic moments. We were trying to think of something to capture that change and ride that change and then add to it and convey it. And the yoga is interesting because it's isometric, but there's a lot of energy that goes into doing something isometrically. It's a lot harder usually than something more dynamic. We slowed it down because when you slow footage down, it gets a smoother kind of almost dreamlike effect to it that can feel a little surreal. The song almost feels a bit surreal in those moments with those swirling noises and the backing vocals and stuff like that. So We thought and hoped, and I think it worked, that those would play together well. But yeah, in any project, you don't want it to be whether or not the tempo changes, but you don't want it to be the same thing throughout. You want to add some, some black and white, shadow and light, and contrast there, and that's where I felt it in this song.
Also, Casey was mindful that he shot over my shoulder when I was packing in a frenzy. Um, and then when I held the position, which we didn't really rehearse because I was doing it sort of live with him, I noticed that he kind of moved around me in a certain way that followed the flow of energy. So if I ended up with my hand up, the camera followed it. So you weren't looking at my technique, please, but you're watching the energy come out of the hand as I'm reaching, or the legs together. And then we chose this part of we got to love Susan's marketing. We have a very raw video and a very produced visual marketing sense. You can see I'm going to get out of the way of our pictures. So this is the top of the what is that called, like the eagle? Is that part of what I think that is? I was
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that you can see how we were able to take Casey's kind of moving camera and then freeze in a particular place. I sent Susan a whole handful of stills from the video, and I call it Susanifying. It's a thing, to put them into a setting that removes you even a little bit from the reality of the video, which is really raw, into the kind of universality of the poster. This is the cover of the single, which I love it. Anyway, so yeah, and I gotta say that Casey is technically what's great about working with a like cinematographer, specifically videographer, is that he's listening to what my idea is. I've started to write video. I don't know if other musicians realize that it's no longer like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? It's all written. Um, at least the scenes are presented to the videographer when we get there, and my garage was already set up and everything. And um, it's very interesting how I can narrate like I would with a co-writer what my idea is, but he's translating it into what is that going to mean visually? And you know, it was like, are you going to drive? Are you going to back up? Are you going to go forward? Are you going to leave? Where am I going to stand? He's saying to himself while we're explaining what the idea is. So that's really cool. Thank you, Casey, for listening to the fact that there was sort of an epic trip as well as a thoughtful moment of introspective yoga. And thank you for following that thing. Because when we talk to Michelle in a little while, we'll see like there was a statue. I don't even know, Michelle, if you can even find the picture of that statue. I should have asked you. The statue in that parking lot somewhere with the
Oh,
pile of rocks that was off balance, that kind of set up the visuals for this. But I can explain it when we get to you. But anyway, thank you, Casey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for bringing me on. It was fun.
And the video, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. The video was shot in a very short period of time. That's another thing. So we don't want to emphasize that, but it wasn't a 2 week shoot. It was a short shoot that came out fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was, I don't want to emphasize, what was it, like an hour and a half?
Well, what
Really?
happens is there's two ways to work, okay? There's extended ideas and extended back and forths and extended trial and error and extended let me look at what we just shot and think about it. And then there's this has to work because there's limited daylight, there's limited time. Casey does film festivals. He was going to Cannes and everything, all kinds of stuff. So between the day that we had set aside and his schedule and the fact that I already knew what I wanted to do, we did it in a condensed way, and we did half shooting and half editing all in one long sitting
I think
rather.
I think we edited the actual shooting was not even that much time compared to we talked about it extensively beforehand to get on the same
Yeah,
page and go through ideas
right.
and all this stuff. And then the editing is, we've just sort of like thrown all this stuff out there.
Right.
And then the editing, I think, took
Oh yeah.
maybe more than twice as long as the shooting.
Always, always.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to sort through and get it all right. And
Right.
then, yeah, from there.
Definitely. Yeah. So
Well,
that's
Michelle, when you saw the video and you didn't take part in any of the production of the video, how did you visualize it like that? Did it express the feeling of the song?
It expressed to me the concept and the heart of the song. Um, the song grew out of a conversation that Beth and I were having. We live in two different cities. We'd never met, and we were talking about our lives and some of the challenges, that we're facing. And she said something about, I just keep trying to get to some solid ground. And I said, Beth, there is no solid ground. That was how the song was generated. And we both said, wow, that's a good title. And then she sent me the kind of hook of the song. But this idea, life is always changing. It's always in motion. It is churning. And there, and yoga, I mean, even a balanced posture, it's not still, right? It's dynamic and it's kind of quivering. And so that yoga, those moments of Beth, like looking for balance, finding it. But it's a dynamic thing, absolutely embodies the heart of the song. And then the other parts of it, the car and packing things and going somewhere, the idea that life is moving us all the time. And we find moments of stillness, but even the stillness is stillness in motion. So I thought the video was a wonderful expression of what the song is addressing and communicating or expressing.
And so, would you like to tell the guests a little bit about yourself?
Uh, well, I'm a
Brag.
songwriter.
Brag.
I've been writing songs my
That
whole
has a wonderful history.
Yes.
wonderful history. I started writing songs when I was a child. I've been writing them forever. I studied music composition at Northwestern, although that really, I don't think that's not the source of much of anything. I was born with something that I'm very, very, very grateful for. I've written songs for animated features for children. I've scored 2 yoga videos, actually. I was working, also a, arranger and producer and musical director. So I was working for years with a marvelous woman named Dixie Carter. I don't know if you all saw Designing Women, but Dixie was the star of Designing Women.
Yeah, wow,
Yeah,
great.
I walked into Dixie's house one day for a rehearsal, and her yoga instructor was just leaving, and she said, "Oh, Michelle, ma belle, Wendy thinks I should make a yoga video." And I said, "That's a great idea." And she said, "And you're going to write the music for it." So I did that. I scored 2 yoga videos. We did them, wound up working with MCA Universal, and they went platinum, and that was fun.
Wow.
And out of that, I got hired to write songs, co-write with Amanda McBroom, who wrote The Rose. So Amanda and I have co-written the songs for 20 animated features for Universal, which is a whole other world, writing for children, songs about things like stinkweed
And
and
dinosaurs.
singing baby dinosaurs. We did Singing Baby Dinosaurs. We did Curious George. We did one American Tail sequel and 2 Balto sequels, and Hercules and Xena, the animated feature, and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein.
And All the
So
Land Before Time. Don't forget about
yeah,
that.
10 Land Before Time. And so I love doing that. I love playing. Um,
The way
just
that I know, I have to tell you that the way that I met Michelle is, and by the way, the people that have to leave, we get it. So we don't want you to. We want you to hear this, but we understand. And by the way, if you do have to leave, we're just so grateful that you did this and came. And this is we do this
I'm
because
gonna I'm gonna say my bye now, real quick,
Casey,
while
you're
you've already
terrific.
interrupted, Michelle.
No, you're
Um,
just wonderful. It's a beautiful video. I love the way
thank you
you.
so much. I'm sure I'll be back for the next one, and we'll be
okay,
back here in
yeah,
a couple of months, guys.
right, exactly. It's starting now. That's there, yeah. Oof, there's always more. But thank you, Casey. Thank you for
Thank you,
doing it. Thank you for
Casey.
being part of the team.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just want to say that um, okay, I've got to go back to this. Oh, the way that I met Michelle, like, so if you leave, you'll stop. It's okay. We'll still be all co-hosts and stuff. Is it
Yeah.
asking you a weird question?
No, I just didn't know if you were talking to me or if you were talking
No,
to
no, no.
Michelle, and
I'm
I didn't
talking
want
to
to cut you off.
Michelle,
I'm
but
gonna head
no.
out. Bye, guys. Have a nice night.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
Casey.
Bye, Casey. Thank you. All right. He's upstairs in my house and he will be leaving. That's great. What happened with Michelle is the reason that she's in my life, and we have to like make sure that we get to Ira because it's interesting how we handed this all off. But Michelle, I was watching a movie on when you're in the SCL, I have to shout out to the SCL, the Society of Composers and Lyricists. Um, because I'm a leadership person in the SCL in Nashville, I get to watch the 4 year considerations at the end of every season, Emmys, Grammys, everything, you name it. And there was a movie in 2025. I'm going to lose it now while I'm talking about it. I'm going to forget the
Jessica Lang, called The Great
Jessica Lang,
Lillian Hall.
thank you, the great Lillian Hall, which if you ever have a chance to watch it, it is an amazing movie about something that seems almost impossible that you could make a great movie about. It's full of challenging things. It's about hi, Adrian's there chiming in. Hi, Adrian. Um, um, Importantly, the movie, as a singer-songwriter, you have to know, you can't imagine how phenomenally critical I am of everything. Ira and I make a lot of jokes about all these things, like I can't get that 5 minutes of my life back or whatever. There's a lot that I judge. So when I stumble on something that's very beautifully made, I can't shut up about it. And the Great Lillian Hall movie is about a woman who has the form of Alzheimer's that's Lewy body
Lewy body.
dementia. And she gets to confront that she has it in the middle of a play that she's in. And it involves her confronting that she has it, her admitting that it's holding her back, and then them problem solving, finishing her play that she's in, as well as resolving family issues that both recent and long standing that it brings up. It's about as complex as you can get. And I can't believe that Jessica Lange carried it off and how they actually dealt with it in the movie, how she finished the play, and how it portrays her saying goodbye to her life as she's aware of it. She's not dying, she's just leaving. Anyway, it was profound. And I left the credits on, which is, I don't usually do. I mean, I do, but I was sort of like, you know, leaving the room or something because I was so amazed that it was such a good movie. And the theme song or the closing credits song comes on and I stop in my tracks because it's maybe the most beautiful song I've ever heard, or at least for a million years. And I'm like, did they really come up with a song at the end of this amazingly well-made movie that is worthy of it? Anyway, it was based on the Mockingbird lullaby, hush little baby, don't. Okay, it's a song that grew out of that, and when I saw the credits, it was sung beautifully, it was written beautifully, it was produced beautifully. I was like, how is this even possible? Long story short, I see the producer is a neighbor of mine. He lives a couple miles down the road, and I know him from a bunch of networking groups here. And I was like, it's Stefan Oberoff. I'm like, wait, what, blah, blah, blah. I reached out to him. I'm like, what did you have to do with this song? And can you come to my Composers Breakfast Club and talk about it? And he said, I can do better than that. I can bring one of the writers. And he brought Michelle online to my Zoom meeting. And after that, after I complimented her for 5,500 hours, we started talking and then we wrote. So it's great. And I was so, my dog is going to bark as he leaves. It's okay. It's Casey leaving. I'm going to mute myself. Bye. It's okay. All right. It's an animal kingdom here where I live. All right. Anyway, thank you, Michelle, for entering the world of how I like to create, which is a team effort, as you can see, because I like to bring everybody around. Anyway, Michelle and I wrote the song after talking very briefly. After we realized we had a lot in common, we decided to, I don't even remember trying to write together, saying we would. And then we had a really beautiful conversation out of which grew this discussion that life never stops and what do you do about it.com, etc. So we wrote it. And then I want to I'll just bring Ira into this at this point. So Michelle is an unbelievable pianist on top of everything else. And like most professionals, in like an hour and a half after we finished, it took a while to write the song. We had to talk about the lyrics, we had to talk about it. Musically, it was pretty quick. Lyrically, it was much more challenging to decide on the application of the title and all that and to edit the detail. When it was finished, like literally an hour later, she sent me like a full mock-up, piano,
And
her
bass and
vocal,
guitar.
bass, and guitar, everything. I mean, she just spit it out like it was great. It was fast and it was all there and it reflected all the decisions. Anyway, after it was, tweaked and it was finished, we then decided, well, I'd like to record this. And then we decided that let's use Ira because Ira is the sound of my album. And that required something really interesting, which is an integration of the work we had done so far, and then a handover to Ira, which is complex technologically, sending him all the files, emotionally, this is what we want it to be about, and then bringing in another person. But the crux of it is, on a lot of levels, is that Michelle and Ira already knew each other and had already worked together a long time before. And anyway, so I'll let Ira take it up from there. And Masha, if you have to leave, you can tiptoe away. I wish you could stay, and we'll be in touch.
I can stay for a little bit longer.
Oh, good. All right, great.
Oh,
Then
great.
leave when you have to. Okay. Okay, Ira.
You
Well,
have the floor, Ira.
I have the floor.
You do.
I just cleaned it too. It's really nice here.
That's
Uh,
great.
yes, Michelle and I had worked together 20 plus years ago.
Is it that long?
Yeah, it was 2000 something. We had electricity, I know that.
It was the
We had,
Land Before Time TV series.
yeah, and we had cars that had gasoline. I remember that. We
Did you
had
have
we
hoop
had
skirts? I used to ask my
yeah,
mother.
the LA
Oh,
Dodgers, we had phones. The LA Dodgers were already here in town, so we knew that. So when one inherits a process that had already begun, I had to catch up to the both of you and get a sense of what was going on, and it was pretty clear that a lot of work had been done. Michelle works, fortunately, using the same DAW, digital audio workstation, that I use. So we had a lot of easy translations going on. But I think that just getting myself into an understanding of what they were going for was the major task initially. What needs to be looked at, what shouldn't be touched, things like that. And we decided pretty early on that, or actually, I persuaded you, Michelle, as I recall, to bring Carl in.
I
Um,
love Carl. Oh, it didn't take much to persuade me. You
yeah,
said his
because
name.
it,
Yeah.
I kept saying, well, the bass part that you came up with was really good. It was well written, but I want to hear a human being animated. And so we brought in a fellow who actually, Carl introduced me to you, Michelle. That's how that
Okay.
happened.
And
And
Carl's daughter and my son went to school together, but hey.
that's right. That's right. But other than that, we don't know each other. So um, I think it was a process of just trying to establish what my part would be in this. What did I need to bring to it? What did I need to stay away from? For example, we had decided early on that we didn't need drums. That in fact that there was enough rhythmic propulsion going on primarily from the bass part that you had written, that Carl, as I said, just animated, that we didn't need the metronomic insistence because it was implied strongly enough from the pianos, from the guitars, and now from the bass. Um, the the palette that you set in motion, piano, guitars, bass, and then Beth added an organ part. It wasn't an extensively, I mean, it wasn't orchestral in that regard, so we weren't going to go massively into how many instruments can we cram in here. It was pretty, and I kept feeling that the intimacy of the conversation was what was most important. Um, the choice I made on my guitar, electric guitar part, was using a volume pedal, which gets the notes to kind of swell in rather than attack. It's almost as if the volume pedal is another character. The volume pedal guitar, it's a counterbalance to the vocal. It's another point of view in the song that is speaking musically to what the lyrics are saying, obviously literally. Um, but everything had to be handled delicately because so much was already in place before I came in. We spent a little bit of time, you and I, Michelle, going listening to piano samples. You know that because we didn't use a real grand piano. And fortunately, we've been blessed with some really marvelous, uh, very credible samples. We ended up using the Bosendorfer piano sample. A little darker than most, darker than a Yamaha, darker than a Steinway, but grand in size and grand. It I think it accommodated your concept of what you were playing. Um, and I think I want to pay a little attention to Beth's background vocals. I want to talk about the lead vocal in a second, but first the backgrounds that I wanted to leave intentionally somewhat ragged in terms of timings because, and we certainly see that now with AI, the dead giveaway for me with AI music is when everything is so quantized time wise and pitch wise, you couldn't put a shoehorn in it. And it affects me emotionally um, very negatively because all the humanity is gone. I wasn't thinking about how do we make this thing not sound AI as much as the vulnerability of these background vocals that are kind of swirling around answering the lead vocal, having them be somewhat disjointed, somewhat out of sorts with each other, I think helps to underscore what the song is about. You
Yeah.
know, it underscores the title by being somewhat unstable. The lead vocal that Steve recorded, he does beautiful work with with you didn't sing it, Michelle. Beth did with Beth's lead vocal. Um, he pays really good attention, not good. He pays excellent attention to the technical aspects, as well as I think helping because I'm not there. I wish I could be um, giving you that very safe place to and we've done it on a number of the songs we've done together where I'll get 4 or 5 vocal takes, find the ones that I make a comp of that, which you know gives me enough choices where because I'm not invested in any of the takes, I have this huge advantage. I get to hear them for the first time. I didn't have to sing them. I didn't have to record them. I just get to listen to them and say, "Oh yeah, that's good." This
Steve
one,
is Steve really works hard at responding only emotionally to them.
yeah,
He's
and it's obvious.
technical.
It comes through. It's very clear because all the choices are there for me to make as the producer. I do very minimal tuning. First of all, your pitch is really good, but these days everything gets tuned, but they get sometimes tuned to the point of losing again the humanity. So there are some, what the Navajo people, I guess, are the ones who make the blankets with the little tear in it, because it's meant to show the imperfection, which is what I think we are still drawn to as listeners. We want to hear those moments of vulnerability, those moments of the things you want to hear again, that make this thing something of a journey. And so I think that we in a very disjointed kind of a way, being in two different places. I mean, Michelle and I, of course, could be in the same room, which we did a little of, but the fact that we weren't all together, we made it work, I think, really well. So, again, just to finish with Steve, though, he really captures wonderful character in your voice. So, Steve, if you can hear me, applause.
Uh, yeah, he had trouble. I was recording you doing that. I'll send that to him. Yeah, he had trouble signing in. He was driving,
Okay.
and he definitely yeah. Thank you for saying that, and I'll make sure he gets that because
Well, he
he's
makes my job easy. That's the part I like about him the most. You know, I
and
don't. It's
he's
not prepared.
also
I'm not doing triage on the vocal.
exactly yeah.
It's all really well done, and I just have to make
He was
aesthetic choices.
He was one of the first people that recorded me vocally in Nashville. Well, he was the first person, I think, 30 or 40 years ago here that recorded me vocally. And he was always, he just turns on the buttons and I don't know. So it's weird how I would like really look forward to being in the same room with you at the same time, Ira. I'm sure you're the same way, but it's really interesting how a photographer or an engineer can seemingly just push a button or hold up a camera, but somehow be inviting and allowing and permission granting for their performer. I mean, it's weird. Likewise, some people can be sort of intimidating, but Steve has always been somebody that's so open hearted and so interested in capturing whatever the essence is that it's very easy to do it in front of him.
All of these little pieces, getting the vocal to sit right, Carl playing the bass over here, Michelle was here for that session. They all add up to the big picture. Each little piece, you know, you can mess up a little bit and maybe not get hurt, but when they're all in alignment like this song has, the end result is it really works as a totality.
But I want to say something about Ira as I want to toot his horn for a little bit, just for a second. First of all, he's one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life. So that has to be said. As an artist yourself, as part of tons of projects and your own and your recent work with Steve Bartek. I mean, there's a lot vocally that amazes me about you. And again, I'm obnoxious and picky, so that's a big compliment. Number two,
We, we hate the same movies.
we hate the same movie. One year we went down the list. It was awful. Um,
There weren't any winners.
it was bad. It wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Yeah.
Um, that's when they were still sending DVDs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Now it's links, so it's a little easier to blow it up or not. We have this big pile of DVDs in my. All right. Anyway, I want to toot your horn as a. So we've talked about you as the person who adopted the recording, and as somebody who adopted the arrangement and the juggling of mixing things together from different cities in live versus recorded. But I also want to talk about your guitar playing. It's so funny. I've recorded for years now with Ira, and I have this thing where I don't even understand it sometimes. Um, for 4 or 5 or 6 months. I mean, I hear differently than other people because I'm listening to the song or something. I'm listening to I don't know what I'm listening to because I'm not a producer, but I know that 6 months late, 6 months out, or 5 or 4 months out, I start to hear all kinds of subtleties that you put in, and the guitar and the sound of the solo and how that led us. And I remember having to get used to it because Michelle's was very, very intimate and very very. You're right in my face, and I'm right in your face, and it's very, very private. To me, it was intimate, and then you kind of went like this and you blew it up a few by a lot of degrees, and then I got lost into the video and into the marketing and into the other songs that I'm working on. I would come back and listen to the recording a lot over the last few days, and I'm absolutely blown away by the intimacy you put into it. You did, so here's to
Well,
that.
again, I think
No, I
what my
want you to do it while I'm here. So I should.
Wait, Mom, we can hear. Yeah, okay, sorry.
I
Go
was going to
ahead.
say that what I initially talked about the volume pedal guitar, I needed the entry point as a musician
Yeah,
because so much Michelle had already done and you with the organ part. There was a lot of stuff already taken care of. So
right.
where we acoustic guitar was pretty obvious. That was easy. It was essentially doubling a lot of the things Michelle already indicated. But the electric guitar need I needed to find a way in because it was a pretty crowded room at that point. And I didn't want to upset the apple cart as I'll continue with these non sequitur metaphors. But I think that I I tend not to be a musical literalist in that some of the chord voicings I choose are intentionally somewhat vague. Because again, in this song especially, so much was explicitly musically set forth. We know what these chords are. We know the bass is telling me all I need to know about the fundamentals and if you had someone, if you needed someone to do a takedown of this song, it would be very easy. A competent musician could put on this song and just chart it out very quickly because it's very clear what the chords are. I'm hoping that that same person doing a takedown would have a difficult time with what I'm playing. And it's not to confound people at all. It's to counterbalance the stuff that's already very clearly stated. We don't need any more chord stuff. We That was covered beautifully and completely. So the way in was to not just do the the unliteral thing, non-literal things, but to create another voice. And that's what my intention was, which I think I hadn't heard the song. I played it last night in prep for today's get together, and things always do sound much better after 2 or 3 months. They just do, you know.
You're farther away from the project.
Yeah, you get to enjoy it, and I didn't hear anything really that I would say, oh, I wish I could do that one better. Sometimes you do find those things, but I think with this one, everything really feels musically, including the vocal, it feels cohesive now. It feels like a statement that is well well supported, well balanced, and it's a journey. And that's to me as a listener, I want to go somewhere for the 3 or 4 minutes. I don't want to know everything about a song in the first 30 seconds that I'm going to have to then suffer through 3 minutes to hear. I want to discover, and this thing does that.
Yeah. Well, and I think the grace of how you accomplished that through adopting it from us, from first from Michelle, then via me, because I think I took it intermediary. Can't remember if I added the organ
Well, the organ was there.
or after you. Okay, so it was
Yeah.
me after Michelle, and then you adopted me and the organ and Michelle and the background vocals. Yeah, that. And I remember that we recorded them in two different tempos. Remember that? I had to.
And by the way, I think that I remember now you're saying it. That was a real gift, an accidental real gift. The fact that they were so out of sync, as I said earlier,
That's right.
that is part of the strength. They
That's
aren't
right.
together.
That's
They are
hysterical.
not in. They're not in sync. And if they were, it would be less interesting to me.
That's amazing. Um, I don't think that Steve made it back onto the thing. So I told you before I recorded. Susan, do you want to? I'm not sure if there's people out there. Do people want to ask questions? Do you want to
I
sing?
was going to say, I
Yeah,
didn't know if Michelle wanted to add anything
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
And if
I
Michelle,
did
you'd like
actually.
to add something, then we're going to open
Yeah,
up the.
Go.
great. I wanted to add, first of all, Beth,
Yes.
I mean,
Sorry,
your
Zelda is
vocal
coming in.
is so wonderful. Your vocal in this is so wonderful. And the background parts. And when I've heard the first time you sent me your backup singer saying she tries, it just grabbed me by the heart.
That breaks your heart.
It is so, it was absolutely, it's so simple and it's so perfect. And everything you sang on it and everything that we wrote together, I'm just so grateful we got to do it. I can't wait for another one because
I want to
um,
say thank you for thank you for acknowledging the vocal. But by the way, your original vocal that I learned the actual melody from because I had to kind of learn your phrasing and then take it from there. I just want you to know that you're a remarkable singer yourself. And the demo or the work tape that your vocal was on is absolutely exquisite as well. So yeah, returning you the thing. And I think there's a part I feel that I've gotten better at vocal arranging. I'm not sure I've gotten better at anything. Well, keyboards, I think I've gotten better at I know I don't feel as funny adding organ and things like that. But I feel like I orchestrate vocally now. And so what happens is there's sort of a musical always happening in my head that I've never written because musicals are, I don't know, review. There's a musical review that I'd like to write. Actually, I remember talking to Adrienne about this. I'm not sure if Adrienne's still here or if she went, but Adrienne from SEL, Adrienne Russ, an amazing songwriter herself. I mean, I once had a discussion with her. She's a theatrical writer, lyricist, and writer and songwriter. And I remember saying, what do you have to do a review or to do a musical? Does it have to be like there's characters? Because remember like Jacques Brel and stuff or the Fantastics, it's just a cycle of so I hear a story the same way that Ira was saying, where do we put the guitars and what are they saying and what are they continuing? I hear the inner dialogue that didn't quite make it to the song, but it's not exactly a guitar part. It's a background vocalist. It's the little people on your shoulder that are saying little things. So that was fun. But yeah, no, I'm amazed. This was a very good experiment that succeeded in listening to Michelle's um, agenda, my agenda, Ira's agenda. It's been a lot of people had something to say about it and needed to follow through and stand up for themselves as well as meld. And I think we did a really good job. That's why when I took it when I took it to the next step and went to the video and involved Masha. By the way, Masha, Susan can attest to this. It took me like weeks to have the courage to send you that letter. And my sister knows about it because we were talking about it.
What?
I was like, I can't do it. And my friend Michelle is on here too, knew that I was like, I can't reach out and say, what do you think of my music? I think I didn't dance to it. I stretched to it. I don't know. I was really like I thought you were going to think I was like out of my mind. It was really difficult. It was really
Wow.
difficult.
No. And I was gonna say I'm gonna run at 7, but I wanted to say, and I think I was thinking about the video or the music video, and I think Ira, you were saying like how there was this meticulousness, right, of stringing different things together. There's a lot of technical language I don't follow musically, but it made me think of what in yoga the concept of vinyasa, which is if you've heard of like, oh, vinyasa flow, vinyasa, but um, it means to place in a careful way. Okay, so it comes from a Sanskrit, two roots, vinyasa, and it talks to in one of the foundational texts that yoga is really skill in action. So the video is yoga, like it's skill, right? It's placed so carefully, it's skill in action. But another thought came to mind, Beth, is that when I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, I'm really affected. Why is that? And I think some of the panelists talk about the universality, and sure, of course. But I was thinking that it's actually um, it's a transmission. Like there is music, right? There's a song, there is something that you can hear or see, and you the way you receive it is, oh, this is beautiful, or this is really immaculate, and you're in awe of the technical skill. But then there is something else, and that's a transmission. And I think you've reached that. It was a transmission. It's like a universal truth in that song, that's transmitted via something else. So I'm sorry that I'm being vague, but a
That's
No, it's
transmission
not.
is
beautiful.
Look,
that.
Fabulous. Yeah.
no, it's great. And what's so great is that it was like a delicate little thing that Michelle and I came up with. It was like a little baby, a little cell, right? And then it made it from us to Ira, and then it made it from Ira to Casey, and to Casey to you. It's like everybody's been very protective, and I have to also involve Susan in this conversation because Susan is like, what are we doing next? Okay, what are we doing? What are we talking about now?
I'm the
What are we
taskmaster, the marketing taskmaster.
but it's like I'm like, well, okay, so this one, it's a gentle little product that we're being very. The transmission is the utmost important because we're talking about something very sacred that started as a sacred conversation, and it's even still a sacred conversation now. So I'm totally thrilled. I mean, I think you can't ask for more than the people that are involved with it getting it, and then saying that it's a transmission is about the biggest compliment you can possibly give. I mean, I don't, yeah, if Michelle's out there, my other friend Michelle is listening. Michelle Collins is out there. I think she was for a little while. I'm not sure if she's there. She would know exactly what that means. And yes, that's about as good as it gets. That's what I would say that is our mission, really, don't you think? Everybody involved with projecting music, that we're supposed to be transmitting something, you know.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I want to say, but just really quickly, without the picture of it, there was a statue. You can just describe it, Michelle. There's a statue in the parking lot that you were looking at because you had somebody that you were bringing to the hospital a lot, or back and forth. I mean, you were in a weird place to see a statue. I don't remember. Was it a school? Was it a parking
It
lot?
wasn't a statue, and it was the garden, kind of a courtyard garden at Cedar Sinai Hospital. And and you've seen these a lot, where people stack stones. Is it called a cairn?
Yes.
Remember? And the concept, and my sister, by the way, is a yoga teacher as well. So we've talked about this a lot. To create a stack of stones that can stand up and balance, they don't have to be perfectly aligned. Things can be out of alignment, and a body can be out of alignment and still be able to balance. So it was the idea that the line in our song, you find the grace to stand where there's no solid ground. You don't have to be perfectly upright. You just have to figure out how your particular body or your particular spirit or your particular moment can be still in balance.
Amazing. Right. Yeah.
So on that note, I think we should open the forum up for any questions. Does anybody, please don't be shy. Does anybody have any questions for any of our guests?
Does it,
Beth,
do you
Michelle,
want,
Ira.
do you, can you see everybody, or how do we know if they have a question? Are we going to unmute them all? Because
Unmute them,
can
yes.
you do that?
Um,
Can I do that?
I think you can ask to unmute. Okay.
You guys, everybody can unmute themselves.
Right.
There's a chunk of you out there, and anybody that how about this? Anybody that wants to unmute themselves, go ahead and pipe up with anything, comment, question, anything that anybody wants to know. We're really grateful that you guys are all here. There's a lot of you without your cameras on, so put on your cameras and if you want, and ask something. Hey, Dave. Hi, everybody. We've got a view up here where I don't see the group. So I wonder if I can change the view and let's just see everybody. I'm putting everyone up. You
All
guys
down.
are all there. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. Okay, we're good. Okay, and if anybody wants to, hi, Scott. Hi, Dave. Hi, Sally. Smokey, Bruce, Jeff, Nancy Goldberg. Okay, that's a person from a million years ago. It was so great to have you. Kathy, Ron, Elizabeth, Lisa Ashman. We're just amazing that you're here because we've been thinking about you. Hi, Margie. Okay, so if nobody wants to add anything, I know we're pretty comprehensive here. We we talked a lot about things, but anyone you can say something and you don't even have to have a question. You can just say something, and then I don't want to say goodbye yet. So everybody, anyone?
Well,
I want to
I'll
say
I'll I'll
goodbye.
jump in and say, well done. It's wonderful to see you do something like this. I love the fact that it took an hour and a half. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
well done, everybody.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Dave and Scott, I'm going to be in Boston this coming weekend, so look for a phone call. I'm not sure what we're doing, what I'm doing.
Make the phone call. Make the phone call.
Yeah. Scott, you're muted.
So Beth, ring in when you're in town.
I will. I will.
All right.
Scott,
How long are you here?
not much, like Saturday through Wednesday, sort of.
Oh, that's more than
Enough.
not much.
It's my mother's, I think my mom left, but it's her 96th birthday.
Wow.
Oh, it is
That's
this
great.
weekend. Okay. Excellent.
I think she was here, but she left. And it's Jude Johnstone's mother's, another friend of ours, mother's 96th birthday as well.
Right.
Kathy, hi, Kathy.
Right.
Yay, hi. Big love.
Hey Beth,
Yeah.
what day is your mom's birthday?
It's Tuesday, the 23rd.
Tuesday. Cool.
So,
Hey, Beth.
yes.
It's Elizabeth. Hi. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for
Hi.
coming.
Oh, I enjoyed it so much, and it's really nice to see everybody and hear all of the process and making of the song and the video. I think the song is extraordinary. I loved it. So I just wanted to say congratulations to you, Beth, and everybody else.
Thank you so much. Coming from you. Guys, this is Elizabeth Rose, amazing singer-songwriter herself, major leader in the
Oh,
SEL.
shush. I look,
Maybe
I'm not, I can't even turn on my camera because I'm in the country. I'm up in the mountains, the Catskills, and I look like a weed. But I just wanted to let you know that hi, I know Dave and Jeff and who
everybody.
else? And
Smokey.
Smokey. Hey. But anyway, it's a beautiful song. I'm like totally focused on the song. And the cover art, the art cover, it's just gorgeous and it's powerful. And let's hope it brought you more time on solid ground.
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't really want to go into it in any great detail, but I did have a fall the other day of which I am recovering from, and I did have to like literally and emotionally and figuratively find solid ground. So I was living it the last few days. All is well, but yeah, hurt my
I'm
hand.
hanging in, but I'm muting again because I talk too much.
No, you're great. Elizabeth is a important leader in the SCL. She is one of the leaders of the New York chapter of the Society of Composers and Lyricists. So shout out to them and that and all of that. So coming from another music person, it's a big compliment. And yeah, okay. And Margie is hiding. Margie is Jazzberry Hill. Lisa Ashman, where are you? Oh, okay, we'll find out Lisa's story. All right. Anyway, if there's
I'm
nobody
here.
else, oh, you are here. It's amazing. Where are you? What city are you in at the moment? Are you in are you in Nashville?
No, I'm in Richmond.
Oh, Richmond. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we miss you in the CBC. So come find us,
Well,
connect.
I'd love to. You can come here
Yeah.
too.
Okay, Lisa Ashman is one of the most wonderful singer-songwriters you can possibly imagine. So I'm
I'm
really
not Lisa Epson. I'm Lisa Mingrone.
Oh, Lisa Mangrone. Sorry, Lisa Ashman was. Oh, it's Lisa Mangrone. Sorry. Hi, I didn't realize that. Okay, I saw Lisa Ashman was here a little bit before. I wasn't looking at the thing. Oh, so Lisa, hi, 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 hi. Okay, you're probably wondering why I was like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. Lisa, we
Yeah,
miss
I
you
didn't
too.
let you, I didn't realize there was another Lisa, so I wasn't clear. I apologize.
No, that's okay. She's not here anymore. But we need to know what happened to her because she's somebody that's been MIA. But meanwhile, thank you for coming, Lisa. Big love to you and Marian. I'm just glad that it's it's isn't it nice that we can do all this with Zoom, you guys, where people are all over the country right now. I got to say that. I really appreciate it. Anyway, okay, without any further ado, I'm going to let Susan close us out. And I want to thank everybody
Mhm.
for being here. The song is, needless to say, is on Spotify and everywhere. And if you're so inclined, you can, find it or share it or mention it. Maybe mention it to somebody that they're having a hard time, or if you, for some reason, feel like motivated to bring it up at a certain point. It's everywhere. The video is now out and on YouTube. And I want to just thank everybody for, pursuing the vision. Um, and we're working towards releasing the whole album. Susan and I are busy, 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 busy. And we've got a lot of a lot of things in the works, cities and songs and plans to make, and we'll keep everybody updated. And yeah, so that's my goodbye. Susan, do you have more to say?
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I know that time is valuable, so thank you for spending your time with us, and thank you for watching the video and supporting Beth Sass and everybody in the Beth Sass world, including the wonderful, amazing Michelle Browerman and Ira Ingber and Casey Newell and Masha Lunar as well. So before we say goodbye, we have somebody else that wanted to come
Here's
in.
Gabby.
So before we say goodbye, I would like maybe Michelle and Ira to say a couple of things to everybody and a little bit about what you think of the music, maybe a little bit of the state of the music world, but try to keep it to 10 minutes or
Oh,
less.
Sure.
10 minutes or less, huh? Michelle, why don't you go first?
I I have nothing to say about the state of the music world. I fail to understand it, and part of me just retreats into my own happy bubble with it. You know, I just want to say I'm very happy about this collaboration. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for a new and wonderful friend and for somebody that I'm so happy to create with. And Ira, I'm grateful that this brought us back together. And Susan, I think you're remarkable.
Thank you.
Beth, you are a force of nature. It's simple. So that's really what I want to say.
Thank you.
She always has been.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I have to say that before Iris says something, I have to say that having a team of people around you that reinforce that you have value and that you have vision is remarkable. And I'm grateful every single day, trusting Susan with helping me send out the messages of each song and then eventually the big album. It's the luxury of having somebody to listen and help you broadcast it goes a long way. And I want to, Susan knows that I like to be show my gratitude in big ways because
Thank you.
we don't always do that for ourselves as artists. We don't do it for ourselves as artists. I every other day I think I'm, on the wrong track. Um, and it's very important given how much the music business changes. I just want everybody to know that having a team around you for feedback is just invaluable. So, and Ira is like my, see, Scott has been my bass player and compadre for like, I don't want to say it's 50 years now because that's really freaks me out. It's about 50, it's probably more than 50. I was 17, so we're just going to leave it alone. And Scott has taught me from the beginning that you can have musical best friends, okay? And it just goes forever and ever and ever, and it's everything. And Ira was my next, after a long string of complex things and musical husbands with Walter and a lot of other people that it works with, but in a sort of broken up way in between projects. Ira was one of the next people who taught me that you can have musical best friends who don't come and go with what's happening in the outside world, and that you're valuable. So Ira, it's you and the value that you bring to helping
Indeed.
people do their
Yep.
things.
I just want to say that it's for me, there's a personal love that comes through all of this that Beth and I have shared a lot of these emotions for, yes, 50 years. Get over it. But we've talked about these songs long before they came to light. So, Michelle, it's wonderful to hear how you two have come together to bring life to that. But these are things that Beth and I have shared just in living life. And turning that into musical songs that we've put together over the time period. This is just yet another uh, 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 compilation of life and living to bring it to fruition is just wonderful. It's things that you and I have lived through, and sometimes we've suffered through. But that's what it is, and you guys have just brought a beautiful piece together, just like all the others you've been doing.
Scott, there's a guy that used to come and hear us at Buddy's, 35 years ago, named John LaPierre, who found me online, and he asked me, and he couldn't even wait for me to say yes. Is it okay if I send you a copy of We're Not Called Lovers Anymore? Because I sing it, and it's been 35 years. He sent me a version of himself singing and playing it because of the work that we did together live
Yeah.
all that time ago. So just it lives. Anyway, thank you, Scott, for saying that.
Yep.
Um, Ira, I'm going
Ira?
to give you the last word.
Oh, better make it good, huh? I think it's really, I mean, we all talk about this in probably daily conversations, the iniquities of the music business in particular and business in general, and the fact that people are struggling to make ends meet outside of music, the wealth disparities, all the stuff that we hear about on a daily basis. But I think as creators, as artists, as specifically musicians, the one of the major tasks is to defocus on that stuff. I don't have any specific power to change what's going on in the music business. I don't feel as though it's important for me to bemoan what used to be so great. And in fact, it wasn't always so great. I was very fortunate to have come up at a time here in LA where there were enormous opportunities. You didn't have to do very much if you were good and uh, circulated. Again, here in LA specifically, you could do pretty well, and it was very easy to make a living. Well, it's not now. But what is easier is to do songs like this we could never have done because we needed the permission and the support of record companies and other means of production, the technical aspects certainly. So I think that our focus has had to change. We can now do the things that really speak to us. And there's a lot to be said for that. So on one hand, yeah, it's the Titanic's going down and the lifeboats are filled, and okay, fine, enjoy the iceberg. But on the other hand, um, the projects that I've chosen to get involved with are things that are very fulfilling to me. And my work, as some of you know, with Steve Bartek now, my band Jackie O, my own personal songs. Gabby and I are doing music together. Um, Bruce and I just work together. So I think that the opportunities that we make are afforded to us in ways that we could never have had before. I'm willing to share this. I I'm sure I've said it to many of you, but I'll repeat it to the group. The game is over. It's over as we knew it. When the record plant studio closed 2 years ago now here in LA, it's a metaphor. It's no longer needed. That place generated well over, maybe in the billions of dollars of revenue. Certainly a lot of money came out of that building, and it's closed. And why is it closed? Because things have changed on from it. Recorded music has been devalued to the point of insignificance. So we can't look at that as the reason to do what we want, need, have to do, whatever it is. A lot of people are still, that I know, a lot of people are stuck in how horrible things are. Well, they're horrible because they don't resemble what they once were. And what they once were wasn't so uniformly wonderful. It was good at times and not. But I think that No Solid Ground is a perfect example of the new paradigm among many. That you two, Michelle and Beth, had this vision. You put the time in, and I'm sure there were furious communications back and forth, and emails and phone calls, and what do we do next week? All that energy went out. I don't believe that either of you were thinking about how much money can I make from this thing.
If any.
Definitely not.
Is that not a safe statement? So I think that yes, it's really rough because we still have to be able to turn the power on and put food on the table.
Wait, did you hear that like low guttural laugh from all the musicians on the screen when you
Yeah,
said that?
yeah. I mean, I think it's a given, that, but there's still opportunities still do exist. There's still licensing. There's still, the things that will generate things. It's just not as easy as it used to be.
And something that I learned from you, Ira, that's important is that it's a truism or whatever the word is. It's a cliche to say that you do it for yourself. You do it for yourself or you do it because you have to do it. What is it that you always say? We have to do it anyway.
You don't have a choice. You don't
We
have
don't
a
have
choice.
enough. It's true. We
You're-
don't have
you're-
another.
Beth is a lifer. She's an example of a lifer. Michelle is a lifer. And the fact that, we are facing these very strong headwinds uh, structurally, that what the business was. I think we all do ourselves a great service by forgetting about, when I was quite young, I found myself recording. I was very, very fortunate. Again, I would do sessions. I got called early on to do sessions here, and the older musicians were really pissed off about the rock and roll guys because we were destroying the business. The famous Wrecking Crew story. Of you guys are going to wreck the business, and they would add, and big bands are coming back, right? Harry James is going to come back, Glenn Miller's, and we, in my 20s and 30s, what are you talking about? You guys are fossils. You guys are beyond. It's over, and I think that there's a lot of that hangover still with people in our age range who look back so fondly with these rose-colored glasses at this marvelous time when these inflated budgets and never recouping the advances that these record companies gave us, not to mention the abuses that were, encouraged, dare I say, by management and record companies. So I think a lot of things, and I don't want to sound like it's everything's wonderful because it's not. I know that, but the fact that we need to get a balanced picture here, and I'll just come back to in conclusion here, No Solid Ground is a perfect example of this. We all worked
And
really.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
the anthem of our
It's an
era.
absolute expression of what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, what, Michelle?
It is No Solid Ground is an absolute expression.
Yeah, it really
It is.
yeah, it's an
That's
emblem. It's very emblematic of it, and I think that, look, the wonderful cliche that gets used all the time of Benjamin Franklin. I think it was on the eve of the American Revolution. We all must hang together, or surely we will hang separately. And it's
Right.
really true. It's really true. So we build our groups of of allies, of people we know we can count upon, and everyone here is that. You know, Susan, you are. Uh, you know, you're such a strong advocate and ceaselessly optimistic. I don't know what drug you're taking, but I want some of it. And and
Not every second of every
well,
day.
the one I see is the one that's the ceaseless optimist who's, but that's what it takes, and
Yeah.
and really, we need to avoid those the darkness characters. We all have them in our lives, who are black holes. I mean, they're not going to really help us get through this stuff. And then
I
Right.
want
I lied. I have one quick, very quick, if I may. So this record came out last month. Well, actually, a month and change. It's a Lowell George tribute record that I was involved with in the late '90s. It died when it came out in '97, and it was recently brought back in vinyl, and it's actually done pretty well. It's sold over, I was told, over 20,000 units, which is pretty remarkable. And I got together. We've done a little bit of podcast. David Helfand, some of you know, the attorney, who was the original executive producer. Now we're spending more time together. We've been
I know
doing some.
David.
Yeah, you know Dave, of course.
It's
So we've done a couple of podcasts and interviews, and everyone seems to ask us the same question: how does it feel to come back to this thing that was created at a time when, well, actually in '97 the record companies were already starting their slow descent. Two engines were on fire, not all four, but you know.
uh-huh.
And I say the same thing. I said, well, I feel grateful that we could bring this thing back to life, and with a renewed sense of, well, we're looking at it differently now. We didn't. I mean, I was hoping it would sell something just because it's a really good record, but more to the point, the fact that so much has changed, but what didn't change, and this is where I'll leave it, the quality and the intention was evident in 1997. It's more evident now on this particular record. Everyone who showed up for that record in 1997, Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Brown, Randy Newman, I'm dropping names because they're all on this record, J.D. Souther, Jennifer Warnes. I'm putting a plug in for the record. It's really good. But that hasn't changed. The intentionality that we put into place way back when is even more cogent now because of the stuff we're talking about. So,
Yeah. And that's all we have is to keep that thread going.
yeah.
And I felt that way watching the movie. I felt that transmission feeling from the Mockingbird Lullaby song at the end of the movie that attracted me to want to work with Michelle in the first place, or to not even work with her. I didn't dream that I would write with you. I just wanted to talk to you about how that song came about and the fact that we were able to meet is special. And I want to say that Elizabeth said in the chat, I think it would be a wonderful credit roll piece in a film. From your mouth to God's ears. That is the whole point here. That may all of the music that we do go to where it's supposed to go, and may it end up reaching the ripple effect that it deserves. That goes for all of us here, and almost everybody sitting here is a singer songwriter. And I didn't say hi to Ron before, and I've known Ron almost as long as Scott, and I want to shout out to him. He's off camera or whatever. He might be in New York. He might be in Cape Cod. I'm not sure where he is, but I love you guys. Basically everybody here is a close person, and that's really important. And Lisa Mingrone, I found the text from Lisa Ashman, who had to leave before, and so I saw that she left. So now Lisa is Lisa. Lisa, you are the Lisa. So glad you were here. And by the way, Lisa Mingrone is a dear friend of mine who's an artist. And we share all this about visual art because it goes, and my sister is also a visual artist, and I, as well as other things. Hi, Sally. And it goes the self-expression piece or the need to be real and the way in which you feel as a creative person and the struggle every day when you're very observant and you're sensitive and you see things and you have to kind of, keep it to a dull roar in your head and blah, blah, blah. All that we have in common, all that humanity that goes into creating something. So, yeah, anyway, so yeah, I think we've covered it.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will probably be doing this again in a couple of months with the next release. You will all be invited. And Ira, again, tell us the name of this music that you just worked on so that we all
It's
know
uh,
what it
it's
is.
it's called Rock and Roll Doctor Lowell George Tribute Album.
That's a mouthful. Maybe
It
you
is.
could do an
Lowell,
acronym.
all you have to do is Lowell George Tribute. Everyone who
Okay,
knows
gotcha.
Lowell. Little Feat, Lowell George. I call him the great anonymous unknown. Everybody knows him.
Probably
Everybody,
if you just
but
Google rock and roll doctor, you'll get it.
Yeah,
yeah,
Rock
rock
and
and
Roll
roll
Doctor will do
doctor.
it. That's right.
Rolling
And
easy.
by the way, everybody here, bar none, is creating right now. Okay. We all are working on things creatively right now. And I want everybody who's got product or art or personal projects, no matter where you are in them, I want everybody to know that we're all in the same moving
Rooting
forward
for you.
team. Yes, we are. We're rooting for everything.
Absolutely.
Everybody here is releasing music or creating art. Every single one. There isn't an exception here.
And
And
then also, Michelle, tell us what you're working on now.
Um, Actually, at this
Do
moment,
we have to sign an NDA?
no, I'm resting.
she
You're
just came.
resting.
She just
I'm
came
I'm
back
in
from.
live fallow for at least a couple of weeks right now.
Good.
I mean, I have songs I'm working on, but I'm just taking a couple of deep breaths.
You just came back from Paris,
London.
London.
Yeah, been doing some performing and some traveling, and I'm home and I'm going to tend my garden and figure out what kind of songs I want to start writing, but just chill.
Good.
Jill.
Sounds great. Well,
Goodbye,
we've been
everybody.
together for 90 minutes. Thank you guys for coming to the No Solid Ground Music Premiere Symposium life sort of education. So please watch it again on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Good luck with everything that everybody's doing, and we'll see you in a couple months.
Wow.
Thank you for the beautiful song.
Thank you, Lisa. Big love.